Hello, and welcome back to the Scary Stories channel. Tonight's story is about how rumors can go horribly wrong, and bullying can leave deep wounds that won't heal. So without further ado, let's begin. Postal Sam. That's the name that we gave Sam Elworth, the mail delivery man that lived down the street. 7th grade was a year that I could look back on as an adult and say without a shred of a doubt, this was the worst year of my childhood. Among the teasing, flat-out bullying, petty friend circle drama, and bad teachers, there was Postal Sam. When my neighborhood friends and I started noticing the weird, twitchy, scruffy-looking mail delivery guy with the bizarre sense of humor, we came up with a nickname for him. He had already introduced himself as Sam to the neighborhood while he was out on his delivery expeditions numerous times. So we knew that much about him: his mannerisms, sense of humor, appearance, and his name. So we nicknamed him Postal Sam. A friend of mine, Daniel, came up with the name. He had heard the phrase "going postal" several times, and he knew what it meant. Not where it came from, but what its meaning was. He had said that the name worked because he was a postal delivery guy, and he always looked like he was about to go postal. We acknowledged this, and from that moment on, Samuel Elworth was now Postal Sam, the psycho delivery guy. My small group of neighborhood friends soon began spreading the rather mundane word about Postal Sam. Well, they must have made it not so mundane, because it spread like wildfire. Just like wildfire melts things, the truth slowly melted into this mutated, freakish thing that people gasped and gawked at. Postal Sam was a local legend. "Have you heard that Postal Sam killed 3 dogs? They say he eats them raw," a girl would say. Postal Sam scratched 6 tallies into his hooked hammer, 1 for each member of his family, a boy would tell his friend, obviously trying to scare them. Postal Sam didn't really exist. To our sleepy little town of Greenfield, though, he was real, and that's all that really mattered. Greenfield is a small town, so of course it didn't take too long for someone to find Sam's house. In large red letters, they had spray-painted the word "Postal" across the street-facing windows. The letters dropped down sadly. Looking at it, the vandalism felt ingenuine and forced. It was a strange feeling. After that one case of graffiti, the trailblazer who decided that it was okay to vandalize people's property set a trend. Soon, deflated chip bags, empty soda bottles, and even paper bags full of dog waste lay on his lawn, haphazardly strewn about the uneven grass. Every chance a kid with half a brain and a little peer pressure had, they would urinate on his lawn. They would knock on his door and run away like their life depended on it. Maybe they thought it really did. After all, it was the dog-eating mass murderer, Postal Sam, in there. Shortly after someone had thrown a rock through his window, I got the letter. It was left in the mailbox just outside my house in a red envelope. As I unwrapped it, I was confused. No one ever sent me mail, and it was really strange to get a letter. In the red envelope, there was a folded note addressed to me. "Dear Matt, I'm writing you this letter to let you know that I like all of the gifts that your friends have left me. Let them know that they should keep their dogs locked up and safe at night. They wouldn't want anything to happen to their beloved mutts, would they? Sincerely, P.S." As my heart began racing, so did my mind. Was I in danger? Was this just a joke being played by one of my friends? I rationalized that it probably was, and I shouldn't let them get the best of me. If I came to them worried and scared, they'd all laugh at me and tell me I'm stupid and gullible. So I kept it to myself. I was still wondering what "Sincerely P.S." meant, and it confused me. Why would they add that to the end? Postal Sam's property was deteriorating slowly as the days passed, and the stories were being shared even more than before. Someone had smashed his mailbox, spray-painted profanity on his door, and keyed his dark green Chevy Cavalier that had already been in a couple accidents. Now when I saw Sam delivering mail, he did it quickly. He wasn't trying to engage in awkward conversation with pedestrians anymore. It saddened me a little, and I felt bad for him. He really didn't deserve what he was getting, right? He wasn't really a crazy psycho with evil intent, right? I decided that Sam didn't deserve all of the hatred that Greenfield hurled at him, so I came to a conclusion to set my mind at ease. I did feel guilt, and I knew that I was partially responsible for this, so I wrote Sam a letter on a white sheet of paper I had on my desk. I scrawled out a letter that I hoped he'd like. Dear Sam, I'm sorry about what the kids are doing to you. I know you aren't bad. You haven't even done anything to them, and they still wreck your house. I really hope you read this, Sam, because not everyone thinks you're bad. Signed, Matt. I slowly walked past the remains of the mailbox Sam had yet to pick up. I tiptoed up the steps. I carefully placed it on the porch and set a small stone on top of the envelope to keep it from blowing away. I walked away from there faster than I should have. I guess habits are hard to shake. For the next 3 days, I checked the mailbox after school to see if I got a response. On Friday, I got one. A little red envelope sat neatly in the mailbox, causing a mix of emotions. On one hand, I thought maybe he wouldn't be able to forgive me. On the other, I thought I might have made him feel better. I grabbed the envelope and ran inside. I went upstairs to my room, closing the door behind me. I ripped it open, setting the white letter inside on my desk. I read it over a few times to make sure I didn't miss anything. Dear Matt, I'm glad I have a friend in all of this. You're not like the others, are you? I apologize sincerely for the threatening letter I left you. I honestly didn't think you had a conscience. Your bratty friends clearly do not. Sincerely, Sam. I felt relieved and slightly surprised that it really was Sam that left me the letter. Well, if he thought I had done what the rest of the kids had done, maybe he had a reason to try and scare me. If I were him, I would hate the kids with a passion. I had a conscience, and I didn't feel guilty anymore. I quickly wrote him back, eager to continue the conversation. Sam wasn't crazy. He was just an innocent man being tormented by heartless kids. He was just a victim in all of this. That made me sad. I immediately grabbed a new sheet of paper and began writing. Dear Sam, I'm happy you can forgive me. I felt so bad seeing everyone treat you like that. Kids can be mean, and you shouldn't have to deal with kids like that. Your friend, Matt. I performed the same exact task as I had before, leaving it on the porch with a stone on top. Only this time, I didn't leave as fast. At school, I thought a lot about Sam's situation. With summer nearing, there was much less work, and homework was non-existent. This gave me time to think about the issue. We had demonized a poor innocent man and made his life miserable. I knew I was better than my friends who was still participating in discussions about what murderous Postal Sam did in his free time. I got Sam's responding letter 2 days after I left him my second letter. It was in the same red envelope that the previous 2 letters had arrived in, this time with Matt written on the front of it in black marker. I took it inside and opened it in my room. I read it very carefully. Dear Matt, you seem to be the only kid in town with a heart. I didn't do anything to deserve this. If only there were a way to make them understand that they're wrong about me. Sincerely, Sam. I wrote back thoughtfully with a plan that I thought was a good idea. Dear Sam, I know the kids hate you, but do you think maybe if you tried talking to them, they would realize you're not evil? If you made them understand, they would stop what they're doing. Signed, Matt. I left it on the porch again, setting a stone on top the same way I had before. I wasn't sure my idea would work, but I figured it would at least be worth a try. With only 7 days of school left, I was excited about 2 things: seeing if my idea would work, and summer vacation. The near future looked promising. After 3 days, there was still no letter. I didn't think much of it. After all, the thought of approaching a group of people that hate you is pretty terrifying. I hung out with my friends, made plans for the summer, and played outside constantly. Finally, on the last day of school, I got a letter back. Dear Matt, I have thought about it, and I have decided that I should try and make them understand. As long as you are there with me, I will do it. Sincerely, Sam. This letter made me happy, and now I was so sure that I could change Sam's life for the better. Sam and I could go to the park where many of the kids from school went on the weekends. I knew they would be there. There were usually 15 to 20 kids. Sam could talk to a lot of the kids who had tormented him all at once. Sam was nice, and I knew he could make them realize the error of their ways. I went and knocked on Sam's door. It was red with chipped paint and graffiti giving it an ugly look. The mail slot opened, and I saw 2 tired eyes looking back at me. Sam's eyes widened, and he cleared his throat. Sam said in a half-worried, half-caring tone, "Matt, I can't come out. They can't see me talking to you. It will only give them a reason to hate me more." I saw his point, so I responded, "That's okay, Sam. I just wanted to let you know we can talk to the kids at Glen Park." Sam looked down and coughed. Then he looked back up at me with an expression of exhaustion. "Sure thing, Matt. How's tomorrow for you? Can we do it tomorrow?" His voice was low and gravelly, and I could see a small scar just under his right eye. My focus jerked away from the scar in an attempt to not be rude. I replied, "Yeah, okay. They will be there around 3 o'clock. Sam continued looking at me, and I realized he hadn't blinked for 2 minutes. Sam spoke again. "All right, Matt. See you tomorrow, bud." The slot closed, and I walked back to my house. I didn't get much sleep that night. My mind kept running through each possible outcome. What if the kids didn't listen to him? What if this would just hurt Sam more? I tried to calm myself down and tell myself that it would work out just fine. Eventually, my mind returned to a state of certainty, and I was confident that this would go all right. It just had to. When I woke up the next day, I waited for 2:30 to roll around. When it did, I went to Sam's door and knocked. When he opened the door, I saw that he was wearing a button-up shirt with a rip in one of the sleeves. Also, a pair of stained gray sweatpants. Didn't he have at least one nice outfit? I realized it's silly to pick at his wardrobe, and there were more important things at hand. We walked to the park, and sure enough, there was around 20 kids there. Perfect. Sam walked up to them slowly, stopping about 20 feet in front of them. Half of the kids were in the playground, and the other half were sitting or standing on the grass talking. I stood a good 10 feet behind Sam. I was nervous as hell. The kids were taking notice of Sam by now, and a few of them looked genuinely terrified. 2 kids that were standing by a tree whispered to each other, and the park was silent. An older kid stood up from where he was sitting and pointed at Sam. He broke the silence with a loud yell, "It's Postal Sam!" It caused the rest of the kids to start yelling at poor Sam. A few of them were already running with horrified looks on their young faces. Sam tried to speak over them, trying not to yell. He spoke in a very raised voice. "No, I just came to tell you that I don't want to hurt you. I'm not who you think I—" His sentence was cut off when a rock was lobbed from the mob that had formed. The rock was heavy, and it hit him directly in the kneecap. I watched in horror as they cheered and began shouting their hatred at Sam. As Sam fell with a pained scream, they yelled, "Leave Greenfield, you psycho!" I was frozen in place as another rock flew, this one missing Sam. It narrowly missed his head. Sam's screams were drowned out by the loud jeering from the crowd. "You little idiots! You don't know what the hell you're doing!" Sam yelled. I could barely hear his response to their violent and hateful actions. Sam limped away, barely missing more stones being thrown at him. I followed him, asking if he was all right. I apologized for putting him in that position. He didn't seem to be mad at me, and I was relieved yet confused. It was my idea, after all. When he finally reached his house, he walked past his broken mailbox, the trash laying in his lawn, and the hateful graffiti on his door. I went home and cried. This was all my fault. In the night, I heard police sirens constantly. They would pass by my house and fade away into the distance. I didn't get any sleep that night, and the guilt ate away at me. I felt like I had ruined a man's life. In the morning, I saw it on the news. A dark green Chevrolet Cavalier with a long scratch on the side had hit several kids at Glen Park. 5 kids in total were hit, and 3 of them died. A man had driven his car off the road, hitting the poor kids that couldn't get away in time. 1 was crushed under the wheels. Another was hit and died of blunt force injury to the head. The 3rd was pinned between the car and a tree, slowly dying of blood loss. The man died on impact when the car crashed into a tree and thrown through the windshield. Samuel Elworth, the Greenfield mass murderer. He was a very lonely man that suffered from mental illness. He was a harmless postal delivery man, and he never bothered anybody. The kids will tell you otherwise. A red envelope was found in the trunk of his car, along with a hunting rifle that Sam never used. When the cops opened it up, they read this. Dear Greenfield, you will remember Sam Elworth as Postal Sam, the psycho who killed those kids. But know that Sam wasn't always just a ticking time bomb waiting to detonate all over your quiet little town. The children who tortured me for so long, ridiculed me, and made me into what I am now are responsible for me. The children created who I am. Postal Sam. Sincerely, P.S. So, have you ever seen bullying or started a rumor that affected someone else's life? Do you realize how much harm these can really do to a person and what actually can come about it? This is a tragic story, and nobody can take the lives back. So maybe the next time that you see bullying, you will step up and do something about it. Let's fix this once and for all. And as always, good night, sleep tight. From the Scary Stories channel.